So we are so happy to be joined by Michael Bartner on episode 24 of UFR. He's someone that we've been following on TikTok for a long time now. If you're on TikTok and you follow hockey content, you must have come across his his stuff. Really intriguing takes, really interesting opinions, and so we're really happy to have you on, Michael. Thank you so much for taking the time today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so happy to be here. I've been watching you got your content for the past like couple months, seeing it evolve. I love how you guys aren't afraid to throw out some hot takes. I love that especially.
You have to
But
be. You have to be.
yeah, big fans of you guys and happy to be on.
Appreciate it. So you mentioned a couple months. We've only been in this space for a little bit. We want to know sort of how you started your journey on social media to get to the point to where you are today as one of the bigger content creators.
Yeah, I don't know about bigger, but like thank you for pumping my tires. But yeah, I got started December of 2020, so like
Okay.
a year and 9 months, 8 months. And I started doing basketball and hockey. I did both. I actually
Okay.
had MB on basketball and MB on hockey. And I was doing both. And like basketball took off way more just because, especially in America, like it's way
Yeah.
bigger. So I was doing both. And I got basketball up to like almost like 10,000, and hockey was still like a
Jeez.
couple thousand. But then in May, I was like, yeah, basketball is like bigger, but I just cared so much more about hockey. So I just like decided to dedicate it in like May, full-time hockey. And then I was able to explode it, got to like 10K by September. And then ever since then, it's just been a happy rise.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
thank you.
We are we look up to Michael. We hopefully hope that we will one day be able to get into that level of following. We love his takes. One take that we are really interested in hearing from you is that we all know that once free agency starts settling down, the questions start arising. Oh, like what's one underrated team? What's one overrated team coming into the regular season? It's kind of where I want your opinion here. If you can name me one team that is slept on and one team that you think is going to be overrated next year, what would your pick be?
For underrated, it's tough because they did just lose one of their best players, but I'm gonna go with the Vegas Golden Knights. I like
Hmm.
you look at like even though they lost Pacioretty only played like 35 games for them last year,
Mm-hmm.
and Eichel played like 35, Stone played 35. I know Robin Leonard like isn't ideal, but they'll be able to open up some cap space by throwing them on LTIR. And I think between Aiden Hill and Thompson, at least one guy will emerge as like a legit starter. So I'd probably go with the Knights because they were so bad last year and they still only missed the playoffs by like 2 points. Like I'm personally going to pick them to be a division team, not even just a wild card,
Okay.
because if they have any like positive health, like if everybody can play even over 65 games, I think they're going to be much improved because I still think they have one of the better decors in the entire league, one of the better top sixes. Their bottom six is a little shaky. And then I think they do, now that they got Aiden Hill, they do have a decent goalie tandems. That's who I'd go for underrated right now. Because for the past 4 years, they've been like the cream of the crop in the Western
Mm-hmm.
Conference. Then after 1 year, everybody's like, oh, they're garbage. Like, come on, guys. What are we doing?
I agree with you. It's nice to know that someone finally gives some credit to Vegas past the Leafs. I am a Vegas fan, so that's nice to hear. Moving over to the overrated team, who do you got?
Yeah, I made a video on this, but it's the Florida Panthers. They got
Ooh.
pretty easily. Although I did like the Kachuk trade in terms of like long term, you basically trade Kachuk for a guy that's maybe slightly worse than Kachuk, but then a top 20 defenseman, Mackenzie Weegar, on a defense that is already so bare bones. You look at it and like, there's a good chance like Radko Gudas is like the third leading guy in minutes. Like that's just not legit. Forsling's going to have to be their number two. They've Mark Stahl in the lineup right now. Like it is bare bones. And Bobrovsky, while he did bounce back, he is getting up there in age and he has not been consistent the past couple of years. So if he falls off, and now that Spencer Knight, he had all this hype. He's like Carter Hart had all this hype, sucked last year. And their offense was just so absurd last year that they're due for some regression. So I still think they're a playoff team, probably 105-ish points. But considering they literally won the President's Trophy last year, I think they're going to take a step back.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree because they've always been that team was like, oh, they're so good, but they've never really been able to like make it happen. I don't know if I have the confidence in them that they'll be able to do it again. So that's a great pick.
Yeah, they're kind of like the reverse Knights. Like the Knights were like the cream of the crop for a
Yes,
bunch of years. Like Florida just emerged and they just broken out. I'm not sure that they have that they're gonna be consistently this good.
that's a very good point. So talking like I'm assuming you still think Florida is going to be a playoff team, but if we quickly went through each of the divisions, like can we get your prediction for top three in each divisions? Maybe start with the Atlantic because we're there.
All right, well, I'll start with the Atlantic. In the Atlantic, I'm gonna go with the Leafs to
There
win
we
the division.
Oh, there it
I
is.
go.
think I think you just look at it. They're the most complete team. The goalie tandem is a little sus, but
Yeah.
like as we talk about consistency for the past 5 years, they've been just consistently about 105 to 110 point team. Then I'm gonna go with the Lightning. They're they're probably more talented than the Leafs, but I think 3 straight cup runs. I always say like once a team makes the cup, wins the cup, like they stop caring about the regular season for the most part. They kind of just coast. So I don't think they have that much to prove, but because I don't like Florida and I don't love Boston, I still think they're like 107, 108 point team. Third, I'm gonna go with Florida. Still a very good team,
Yeah.
but I just like if the Bruins didn't have those injuries to McAvoy and Marchand to start the season, I'd probably go Bruins, but they're gonna miss both of them for like a month or two, at least a month, maybe 2 months each. So I'll go with Florida, even though I think the Bruins are a better team.
And I also think Bergeron's going to miss the first couple of months as well, so that'll
Really?
hurt a lot as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see there. Okay, now moving into the Metro. This is the division that you're from, so let's hear where you're going.
Yeah, dude, it's really tough because I was on the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes were like my early season, like my way too early like cup pick, but now that Pacioretty is out till literally February, I think I'm still gonna pick them to win it. I really like that they got Paul Stastny. I think that's like obviously he's not Pacioretty, but he's a 55 point guy that they got for like nothing. I'm still gonna go with the Hurricanes just because their defense core is so great. They just play such a great style of hockey and defensive hockey, and I love Rod Brindamore. Then I'm gonna go with the New York Rangers, and then it's between the Penguins and the Islanders for me, not to be biased, but I'm probably gonna go with the Penguins just because
Yeah.
again they've been just so consistent for the past couple of years, and I can't trust the Islanders in low.
I mean, hey, so you're an Isles fan. I see over in New Jersey. You're not a New Jersey guy. You're an Isles fan.
Yeah, no, my dad grew up on Long Island during like the 80s, so they were
Oh
like
baby.
dynasty, and yeah, I just went with him. I didn't really like choose the Devils.
Nice. Okay, let's move on to the West. I guess we'll start with the Central.
Central.
Central Division. I had a hot take. I don't think I made a video on this, but like I don't think it's as locked up as people are saying because the
Okay.
Avalanche are a worse team. And again, after winning the cup, I always say like teams coast. So I don't think they're going to be as engaged. So I still think they're going to win it. I just made that whole point, but I still think they're going to win it. But I think instead of like win it by 8 points, I think it's going to be very close between them and the Blues. The Blues, I expect Jordan Binnington to have like kind of a bounce back year. He played very good in the playoffs. So I expect the Blues to be up there. I think they probably have the best top 9 in all of hockey. Like their top 3 lines
Yeah.
is like gross. It's absolutely gross. So I think they're gonna be like if I had to say right now, so the Avalanche would be like 115, 116, Blues like 114, like right next to them.
Yeah.
The Wild, they're a pretty clear number 3. They definitely got worse with Kevin Fiala, but they're still an elite team.
Yeah, very true. I love the Wild, like low key. So if they can keep it
Marc-Andre
up,
Fleury scares me though. That's the one thing.
true. Yeah, you never know with
Yeah,
him, right?
especially.
Eventually he's gonna have to stop playing well, but
Yeah.
I guess they're hoping it's not this year.
Yeah. How old is he now? Like 37?
Something like that. He's
30,
up there.
38 or something.
I mean, he was decent on once he got to the Wild, but like before that, like even by advanced metrics, he was
Yeah.
bad in Chicago.
That
But I
is
mean,
a
he did
ve-
win the Vezina 2 years ago, so he easily could just get back to that form. But yeah, the fact they traded Talbot for like Gustafson, I get like cap wise, but that is like a massive hold because Wallstead is not going to come in at 20 years old if Fleury like botches and like carry
Mhm.
them.
Yeah.
That is a very hot take that we had on TikTok as well. Where we said after winning the Vezina, Marc-Andre Fleury's play in Chicago honestly like deteriorated quite quickly. I mean, and
Yeah.
that was tough to say after he had just won a Vezina. But I mean, we're hoping for the best of them. And now, so who do we got last?
Pacific.
The Pacific Division.
Pacific.
This is a tough one because there's a
This
lot of
one's
teams
probably
on the
the hardest.
cusp.
I'm gonna go with the Oilers to win it, just because like they do have by far the 2 best players in the entire division, and I don't love Jack Campbell, but I think he's definitely an upgrade over Mike Smith. And that was like, I still don't love their defense, but like the goaltending was like the one glaring mistake. And now that they actually have some depth on in the forward core, I think they're probably the safest team. The Flames, I thought they were, I'll go with Flames too. I thought they were fake last year, but like, I do think they're a better team now. So like, I still don't think they're like a 110-point team, but I think they'll comfortably make the playoffs. They don't like the Oilers kind of have a weakness on defense. I feel like the Flames don't really have a weakness, but I don't think they have an extreme strength. Like Huberdeau's a star, but he's not a superstar. Markstrom's a top 10 goalie, but not a top 5 goalie in my opinion. And Uyghur's a top 20 defenseman, but after that, I don't think they have like another top 30, top 40 guy. So I'll go Flames number 2. And then it's between the Kings and the Knights. I'm gonna go with the Knights. If I hype them up, I can't have them be like a wild card team now. So I'm gonna go with the Knights for the reasons I laid out before.
That's fair.
I do think the Kings are gonna be a wild card team, though. I do think the Kings are gonna be a wild card.
The Kings got a lot better this year.
Kings are
a lot
better.
better.
Yeah. Gonna be dangerous. Okay, now we said this like before the interview when we were recording. We've seen these lists everywhere on TikTok, and I want to get your opinion. Let's do forwards because forwards are a little more controversial. If we could get your top 5 forwards, we'd love to hear them. Or do you want to do? Would you rather do centers or forwards as a whole? What do you pick?
I did my top 50 players list, so let me pull that up.
Okay.
I have it all here. I just gotta find it.
Yeah, no worries.
Top 50 skaters. All right. So which one are you asking for? I can.
Let's do top 5 centers.
Top 5 centers. We're counting Leon as a center.
Yeah,
I know he plays sometimes like left wing with
the center.
All right, then I go McDavid,
Mm-hmm.
Matthews, McKinnon, Leon. I have Crosby over Barkov in this, but I think I'm gonna flip that. I think I'm gonna have Barkov at number 5.
Wow, that's actually unreal because I gave a top 5 centers list. I had the exact same list as you. I put Barkov at 5 instead of Crosby, and he even said we might put Crosby at 5 instead. One thing that I am very interested to hear is I got so much hate on the last TikTok that I posted saying that Matthews is marginally better than McKinnon. What made you take him over McKinnon?
I mean, it was the defensive impact this year. He was like a Selke level. Before that, he was always a good defensive player, but he wasn't like Selke level. And you look at McKinnon, he's obviously amazing, but he doesn't have the defensive impact. And and Matthews is a clear better goal scorer, and goal scoring just matters more in the NHL.
Yeah.
Just a simple fact. Give me a guy that scores 60 goals and 50 assists over a guy that scores 35 goals and 65 assists. Like, give me the better goal scorer and the better defender. I'm taking that all day.
Beautiful. That's exactly what we love to hear.
People, I don't know. People just love to hate. I don't know.
I like people are gonna use like McKinnon won the cup. It's like I understand, but it's like he didn't even win the Conn Smythe. Like Cale Makar won the Conn Smythe. It's like he's definitely the second best player on that team, but it's not like McKinnon dragged them like McDavid dragged the Oilers to the Western Conference Final. So it's like McKinnon just on the better team. And Matthews actually showed up for the playoffs this year, so you can't even like get that mad at him.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Okay, so I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but in my mind, I'm thinking American-born center. I saw you post a story a couple days ago about the JT Miller signing, and I couldn't agree more with you when you said, like, what do the Vancouver Canucks do now? The reason why I want to get your opinion on this is because you obviously have them with the story that you posted. I agree with you completely. I thought that they were going to go into a rebuild. They didn't go into a rebuild, and now they're stuck in this weird position where they're like not good enough to win, but they're on the cusp of a playoff team. Like, what do you do?
It's actually funny because I literally at like 1:35 posted a TikTok.
Beautiful.
Going more in depth into like the Canucks as a whole and JT Miller, and I don't think they should have entered a rebuild just because they do have good pieces like Pettersson. What is he? 23. Hughes is 24. Besser's 25. So like I don't think a full rebuild, but as you said before, they're way too good to tank. They're not good enough to be like a consistent playoff team. So I would have kind of just like traded JT Miller, had like a developmental year, finished probably bottom 10, but like get a pick and a prospect and then another blue chip prospect, maybe finally draft a defenseman to like add to your core. But it's just with that decor they currently have. I was looking at it. I pointed to the video. It's like Quinn Hughes is partnered with Luke Shen right now. Their second pair is OEL and Tyler Myers. Like Demko is a stud, American-born goalie. I freaking love him, but like he can't keep on carrying this team. He plays 60 goals, playing 65 games a year, faces 35 shots a game. Like he's gonna break down eventually. So they're just in a really weird spot where I agree. Like And the thing also I brought up is like Pedersen and Besser used to be these like blue chip prospects, and they're definitely good players. But you look at Pedersen, his rookie year, he put up 66 points in 71 games. You thought, oh, it's going to be into superstar. Last year, he put up 69 points in 80 games. He's just plateaued. So like those two their development, and even I mean Quinn Hughes, I think will get better, but even him, like he's not that much better than his rookie year self. So they've kind of just plateaued. And JT Miller, while definitely a good player, he can't be the best player on a cup winning team. That just seems like a pretty consensus thing. So that's my thoughts on them right now.
That's a really good breakdown, actually. And so, last question from us. We don't want to take up too much of your time. This one not even really hockey related, but as when we were talking a little bit off air, like we're new to hockey TikTok and like social media in general in terms of like actually like posting ourselves online. And you talk about this sometimes, the state of like TikTok, the state of social media, dealing with hate and whatnot. Like, what do you think? Let's say like are the good aspects and the bad aspects, and how do you kind of balance those and deal with that?
Yeah, it's tough because like early on, like I grew at such a rapid pace. Like once I committed to like May to August, September, like 10K, but like I was so controversial. Like I sometimes I would just make a take that like I didn't even believe it, but I knew it do like numbers and comments. It's like, and I still like say what I believe, but especially in social media, it's so toxic on something like hockey TikTok. It's like if you say something, someone just doesn't. The number one thing that pisses me off is like when you make a take, you go in depth, and then someone just is like idiot, like L, and they don't explain it. In hockey talk, I want to get to a point where like even if you disagree with it, even if you like hate my opinion, like we can have a dialogue. Like I try to respond to like basically every comment and just like talk and try to explain my point, but like right now the current state of it is so like not brain dead because I don't call like the viewers brain dead, but like we got to get to more because I see in like the other, whether it's NBA or NFL, they're a lot more civilized, a lot more like in depth. Like they like the analysis of stuff. So we got to get to a better spot in that because right now it's either a filter video or it's like some in-depth commentary that everybody hates. And I'm trying to do my part to add legitimacy to like more in-depth videos, but sadly there's not a lot of people making them that anymore. So that's why I think Hockey Talk it's not that good of a place right now.
Yeah.
Sadly.
That point about in-depth analysis like is so true. I feel like hockey fans more than other sports fans they refuse to believe that analytics or any in-depth analysis is valuable. Like I don't know if you find the same thing.
Yeah, they're very. It's definitely changed. Like I'm sure, like 2018 or 2019, if I was pulling up like expected goals, like people would be like, "What the fuck is this?" But like it's definitely it's going in that terms of like advanced stats. But the thing is with hockey, I found is like people, unlike other sports, people are so tribal and so committed to their team and defending their team. Like in the NBA, if you trash some like 10 seed team, they're not going to be like, oh, we're so much better. But if like I say the Canucks are going to miss the playoffs, it's like I just said the Avalanche are going to miss the playoffs. That's how they react. Like it's so
100%.
defensive and it's so anger driven, and we got to get to more level head and more open dialogue.
100%. 100%. I think Ange shares the same sentiment as me. Like when people just comment like you guys are idiots. Like have you ever like the one we get all the time is do you guys even play hockey? It's like, well, yes, but why does that matter? Like I'm not you like I'm we're basing our stuff in like facts, and so I don't know like what does that even matter? But that's like I don't hear that anytime in other sports either. Like would you play or like you probably played house league? It's like what does it matter?
Yeah, no, it's very toxic. And what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Yeah, like in terms of like the comments, like people saying I'm biased. Like I made the Vancouver Canucks video. I checked on the comments like 10 minutes later. It's like you're just salty the Islanders didn't get him. I'm like, like kind of yeah, but like that doesn't. I would have said this before the Islanders were even interested in him. Like it's just like the biased. Like if you're a Maple Leafs fan, you can't talk about the Canucks or the Habs. Like you just can't. Like that's what they try to be like. Is you're just so biased, and instead of listening to people and having an open dialogue. Yeah, if someone doesn't play hockey, it's automatically invalid when it's stupid. It's stupid.
Exactly. Well, Michael, we don't want to take up too much of your time. Like we said, We really, really appreciate you taking the time to come on. It was a great chatting with you, getting some of your hot takes, but also your views just about hockey and social media in general. We really appreciate those kinds of conversations. Like I said, I'm sure many of our listeners have heard of you, but for those who might not have, you want to just plug where they can find you?
Yeah, MB on hockey on TikTok and Instagram, and then on Twitter, Mike Bartner. Go
Amazing.
check it.
Everyone, yeah, go check those out if you haven't already. If you like our content, you're gonna love his content. And again, pleasure having you on. Thank you again for taking the time.
Yeah, dude, great to be on. I'll come on, and hopefully next time I have more time and we can get more in depth on stuff and all this. But this was fun.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, man.
Yep. Adios.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content, and find the link to our full podcast and all our socials in the description down below.
Also, don't forget to turn on those notifications to get live updates on new videos that we release.